Mrs. Green Apple, and we are going back to the start. Well, I'll be honest with you, the song's called Start, but I don't know if this is actually the first Mrs. Green Apple song. It's from 10 years ago, though, and, I've been kind of just enjoying letting you guys guide me because there's been so many wonderful comments under each of these Mrs. Green Apple videos. And I've been catching up with this band. I'm several songs deep, but it's a band who obviously I knew so much about because of the fact that they are just everywhere here in Japan. Everywhere you go, you can see posters for things they're doing. If you look at the free giveaway magazines that tell you about the music that's out right now, which we get in the convenience stores, Mrs. Green Apple are always doing something. They're on tour or they have some sort of release. And of course, if you go into, well, for example, locally to here, the local shopping mall, pretty much the entire shopping mall is doing a promotion with Mrs. Green Apple. So you walk through the doors and Mrs. Green Apple's pictures on the door of the shopping mall and it's everywhere and they've got banners and everything. This band, it's hard to express how big they are domestically. And I've mentioned before how we've talked about so many other really popular, famous artists from Japan, the likes of Ado, the likes of Yoasobi. But Mrs. Green Apple is definitely one of those ones that has more of a domestic popularity than necessarily overseas. Now, they're so huge that any popularity overseas, even if it's just like 0.5%, would still make them massive overseas. But, you know, compared to of the percentage of their fandom, they are definitely one of those groups who has more of a domestic, you know, people more domestically know about them than acts like Ado, which I think a very large proportion of her fan base is overseas. So I'm enjoying catching up on this because it's popular, so many of you guys have been super supportive, and because it is something that genuinely hits home. You know, it's something popular here. And so far, I've been really blown away by the music, the superb songwriting, the vocalists, and just the way that their songs really feel to me like that beautiful mixture of accessible and actually good quality music that typifies what makes Japanese pop music as a general, at least Japanese charting music, so good. And yeah, I should say the reason I say Japanese charting music is because, well, the stuff that is popular here is such a wide range of genre. I almost feel like you can't define what pop is. There's a beeping sound. There's a loud beeping sound coming from outside. I don't think you can hear it, but I think someone's car alarm's gone off. Hopefully you can't hear it, because we're about to enjoy Mrs. Green Apple today. If I tell you that this song was great, except for the loud beeping noise in the background, you know that I was overhearing something. I should also point out, you can probably tell, I'm a little bit... oh, it's stopped now. I'm a little bit unwell right now, so I apologise if I sound a little bit... hopefully I don't sound too gross. But let's enjoy Mrs. Green Apple Start together. I didn't set the volume before I jumped. Oh, that alarm's gone off again. Fingers crossed. Let's go. Let's actually rewind to the start. Let's enjoy this. And again, I know at the beginning they were a 5-piece band. I know it's a slightly different vibe to things. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes. Let's give it a go. No music? Oh, there we go. Ooh! Straight with the vocal. He looks young. Well, I gotta be ready for the claps. I'm loving those little audience participation moments in there. Again, that's a great cool and answer moment for the audience. You can do that. Damn, this song is charging along. Oh, I love that. Strings and flute. I missed the clap again. Oh, the random instrument. Love it. It's so playful. Wow, okay. This was 10 years ago. I've never heard this one before. on the harpsichord. He's got a harpsichord in there. Oh. No. Damn it, Chase. That's just amazing. It's done so much in 2.5 minutes. I said this about some of their songs before. Alright, we're going to build it back up. Ooh. That left hand on the piano is really nice. So walking you down into the last chorus. There it is. This is a lot. Oh! Ending on that little saw synth sound as well. There is a lot to go through here. Oh my god. Wow. I would love to know. I mean, I'm going to take a guess. This isn't their major debut single, but if this was their major debut single, wow. So I feel like a lot of the things I want to say about this, you've probably heard me say about Mrs. Green Apple songs before, but let's start with the things that are maybe a little bit obvious. First of all, immediately very compelling sing-along melody. I love that aspect. It's again, it is that sort of thing where it's super accessible. I can't imagine you playing this to anyone who's just like, oh, it's too technical for me. It's like, it's just a very accessible, lovely melody. Really nice, la 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 la, you know, nice sort of sing-along chorus. I love that aspect. You really feel like you can sing along to it. Love the call and answer sections in there as well. Down to the clap clap, the la 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 bit, the in the chorus, the ba ba ba, yeah, all these little bits. These are so clearly really good sing along moments that are kind of posted throughout the song, which you know. Obviously, here's me. I'm not quite following it very well, but I can imagine if you've heard the song a few times and you turn up at their show, I could just imagine everyone just doing those bits together. That would be so cool. So I really love that aspect of it. I thought that was amazing. But then, as I've mentioned before, despite there being this accessible and very welcoming and easy to listen to quality about Mrs. Green Apple's music, it is that sense that it is not only is it excited to play with ideas, but the whole song feels like it's just kind of, it's like a little playful puppy that just wants to do 10 things at once and can't control itself. And it comes out in this really cool way. I mean, there's that section earlier on in the song where you got like a flute playing, and then there's like an ocarina playing, and then you've got like the keyboards doing harpsichord, but then it's doing piano. And this is the kind of thing I really adore, because if you can weave, well, I mean, when you're writing a song, and it's hard to express this, and I think sometimes people get a little bit confused when I say that my favorite bands usually have, not always, but usually have a keyboard player in them, is because of the fact that a keyboard can be literally anything. But when you've got your musicians, even if you haven't got a keyboard player, when your musicians have got extra skills, if one of your musicians can play a bit of piano or can play a bit of flute, or, you know, they can do backing vocals, you should take advantage of these things. You should have every extra sound you can, because when you're writing a song, if you're a good songwriter, you're going to hear more than just guitar, bass, and drums. There's going to be all kinds of sounds that are going to appear in your head. You know, that's the power of imagination. You know, you're hearing sounds in your head when you write a song. You're not just sort of like, oh, what bit am I going to write for the guitar? What bit am I going to write for the bass? Or, you know, even the, yeah, I mean, okay, sometimes you get the individual instrumentalists write their own parts, but if you're an auteur-style songwriter who writes the entire arrangement, or even as a band you do that, you're going to hear and you're going to think of sounds that are going to be outside of what you as a band maybe even play in your standard roles within said band. So hearing things like that, hearing them picking up these extra instruments, even if they were just sort of layered in the studio version or whatever, hearing the keyboard, jumping between harpsichord and piano, to me that's just a sign of genuine imagination. Now, I don't know if the arrangement credits are separate from the writing credits. To be honest, I'm not really bothered to even wait. I'm aware they write their own songs. If they arrange their own songs, produce maybe even as well, then that's superb. This was from their third album, Ensemble. Holy God. So they were, we got to dig further back to find where they started. But this was a strong suit. I thought this was really fun. Definitely a good example of what I come to Mrs. Green Apple for. I think that just as a pop rock song, this is exceptionally good. Really, again, it demonstrates that their position as a super famous band, whether they're your taste or not, which again, I'm not expecting just because something's popular. I'm not expecting everyone to like it. A lot of my favorite bands are pretty small, but in fact, probably most of them. But I think this is the sort of thing where when you listen to it, you cannot question they deserve to be famous if you're putting out this kind of thing. Because this was so busting with ideas. Even when we had that guitar solo, which was that nice sort of cutting guitar solo that came in, like right before the guitar solo comes in, there's this really cool little, just like a little bit of a stop, just a little bit of a pause, and then the guitar solo throws in. And just that little break, which occurs a couple of times in songs, just a sign of like a little creative idea that they didn't have to do. But by putting that in there, it just sort of gets the heart racing a little bit more. It adds a little bit more action, a little bit more, something more for your ears to be excited about each time you listen to it again. So let's just go through that again. You see what I mean? I think it was around here. Oh yeah, so they had this build-up. This build-up was really nicely done. I think I'm actually too loud. I think this is just the last chorus, isn't it? Yeah, it's just the last chorus. But even that bit is like full of ideas. Oh, there's the guitar solo. Anywhere you go in this song, it's just piling on the ideas. And that's that little bit there, like on the snares, and then just have a little stop-start in the arrangement. These are examples, and funny thing is that often. And I do think this is actually an important thing to add. I think often I've talked to people about the importance of studio recording and how, in the hands of a genuinely creative band, being in the studio is just as exciting as being live on stage. They're two very different things. They have totally different qualities. But people often talk to me about how the studio is live is real music, and studio, it's all clinical, it's not the real thing, blah blah blah. I prefer the live version, blah blah. I hear this kind of stuff all the time. And my retort to that is, as someone who's worked with bands both in live context and in the studio, they are both equally special places if you're a genuinely creative band. And the reason I say that is because a band like this who's genuinely creative, the studio is a place where there's no, you might have certain times booked, but there's not a huge amount of pressure. You just go in there and you just create, and you have all the tools, and you can do whatever you want, and you can just create and create and create, and you can get each take right, and you can change things. And yes, it's not that sort of immediacy of being on stage and interacting with the audience, but it's that passion of creating music, of sitting there and hearing something formed and getting your ideas out, and rather than regurgitating a song you've played 100 times before, which might be lovely for everyone who already knows it, it's a case where you can make that new thing. You can be a creative. You can be a creator. And that's when I hear songs like this, it sounds to me, it sounds like that perfect marriage where I'm sure there was a producer involved who I'm sure was really cool. Maybe there was arrangers, I don't know, but this just sounds like the sort of thing where it went into the studio and everyone just created, and it sounds like the studio was probably a ton of fun. So yeah, I genuinely think this is the kind of music where it kind of proves that point. If a band's genuinely creative, then you feel it in their studio recordings. In the same way that you feel the passion of a live performance, you feel the creativity of the studio performance for a band who genuinely can create. Anyway, there you go. Those are my thoughts. Again, another Mrs. Green Apple one. Like I said, I'm not well and it's boiling hot, so I need to turn on the air conditioning. Even though it's loud, I'm going to turn on the air conditioning. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Remember, if you like talking about Japanese music, we've got a Discord linked below. It's been going for years and it's a great place to find new music and talk to other people who love music. So go check that out. Get in the comments beneath this video. And until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.